views and opinions of this show do not reflect the views and opinions of Wikicuriosity Media or its affiliates. Wikicuriosity Media, changing the world you listen to. Any music featured on Wikicuriosity Media programs is used with the express written consent of the artist, owner, or distributor. Coming to you live from the Wikicuriosity Studios in Knoxville, Tennessee, it's Behind the Screen Radio Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of Behind the Screen Movie of the Week. I'm your host, Dan. Joining me in the studio tonight is the lovely Miss Angel.
Hello.
And Austin. Hello. And the beautiful Miss Ann.
Hello.
And you can join us as well. All you got to do is call in 718-664-9735. Again, 718-664-9735. And that'll bring you directly into the studio with us. You can also hit us up on our live stream on Facebook. All you got to do is go into the search bar, type in Behind the Screen Radio Show. It'll be the first one that pops up. Click like, share, and follow, and click on that notification to be kept up to date on all of the live streams that pop up on Behind the Screen. Also, head on over to Wikicuriosity Media's Facebook page. Give them a like, share, and follow. Be kept up to date on all the happenings in Wikicuriosity Media. On the Wikicuriosity Media page, Facebook page, you can access the website, www.wikicuriosity.wixsite.com/WC Media. It's a mouthful, so just click on the link. On the website, you can find pictures of the hosts. You can find blogs, information about the shows. You can also access every show that has ever been on any Wikicuriosity network, period. Dating back to the very, very, very first show almost 3 years ago. You can also access our YouTube channel, Wikicuriosity Media. On the YouTube channel, we've got some videos that date back to 2019 because we were locked down in 2020, so we didn't have any of those. You can also check out old live streams from behind the screen. Note by note live streams and Falling from Grace podcast live streams to be uploaded here very shortly. You can also access information about your hosts and your owners and all that good stuff. Be on the lookout on the website for new blogs to pop up here very shortly. We've got some new things coming, so
Welcome to our lives.
I'm going to be respectful and blow my nose in the bathroom because it's going to be gross.
I did it in like 0.2 of a second. Now it's done.
New blogs on the website. Be on the lookout for that. There's some new content coming here very shortly, and not within the next 6 to 9 months. I'm talking here within the next, week or so. There's new things happening.
In the next 6 to 9 months.
Check that out. Hopefully we can get back into updating our blogs and getting all that stuff done and updating the pictures and just overall updating the website because it is in dire need of updating. So you can also catch us on iTunes. Just type in Wikicuriosity Media. All of our shows will pop up. They are in alphabetical order, so you will need to scroll down to our other show. Scroll down to find the show that you want. Also, newer shows that are uploaded to iTunes are at the bottom, or new episodes, sorry, of the shows are down at the bottom of each respective show. So if you want to catch new ones, you have to go all the way down to the bottom. So, all right, it is Sunday night.
It is,
Start of another beautiful week.
or the end of an incredibly long week.
I always like to think of it as the start of a new week.
I will go with that because
Yeah.
I would like to not repeat last week.
Well, this weekend, the fucking weather was scary.
It was pretty stormy here. It was loud. It wasn't, the storms themselves were rather disappointing.
No, not last night.
Well, I mean,
Last
the
night was
noise level was great.
last night's was pretty good, and then there was one this morning as I was actually heading out that was instant lightning and thunder. It was like lightning, loud thunder, and I was like, oh man, I wish I was sleeping through that.
That part was cool, but here's my thing. They now woke me up with like imminent danger warnings. So we're all gonna and the
Yeah.
why do that to people?
We have flash flood warnings for our specific region.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Usually it's like the county, but it was like, nope, you're getting flash flood.
It was like, don't leave your house unless you're fleeting. And I'm like, okay, no church for me, I guess. 2 hours later, my parents are able to drive here. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I was at the store today and I was like, the True Test is the one spot in town that if it really floods, I have hit it and been like, nah, I'm going to turn around and go the other way. I got over there this morning and I was able to just kind of go around it. I was like, really? Imminent danger, people? Imminent danger?
There's one spot on the road that I take to and from work to get out of our neighborhood that normally floods right there by the church, the small church up on the hill. That I actually completely avoided that this morning. I was like, I really don't want to mess that because
Yeah.
I have to turn around and that's just wasting time. And
And a pain in the ass.
yeah, so I just went through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But coming back today, I mean, there was a little bit of like gravel on the road from where it washed down from the rain, but there was no. I mean, I hit a couple of spots today on the way to work, and I will say that I'm glad that I got brand new tires on my car, because if I would have hit those puddles doing 50 with my old tires, I would have slid a little bit, and it would have been a little scary.
Right, and I know my car. My tires never want to grab the road when it's wet. They just don't. I don't know, weight of the car, whatever, but it just doesn't work out well. So when we came to that spot, only my lane had water in it, and it looked fairly deep there. But this area, when they say it's gonna flood, like it's no joke. It fucking floods. The whole town, it
Yeah.
floods. Okay, so for it to only be half the roadway, I was like, this is not shit. You guys shouldn't have woke me up. So I went around it, you know. One side was kind of in the water. But coming back, because now I'm in the side that doesn't have any water on it, and I'm watching these like little bitty cars try to get through the water and laughing the whole time because they're going 5 miles an hour. And I'm like, you guys are going to get stuck, and I'm going to laugh. Slow that bitch. Get to the water.
Well, I will say that, I mean, so you don't want to floor it going through.
You don't
want to
go
drive
5 miles
you don't
an
wanna
hour.
go- you don't want to drive 5 miles an hour. You want to go at a decent pace to where, as long as the water is not above your front bumper, you're fine. But you want to go at a pace enough to where your front bumper is actually pushing the water out of the way, so you don't flood your engine.
And it was right at their front bumpers because they were tiny. Fairly decent sized mom van, but it's got some power, so it doesn't really normally worry me. So we're driving past them though, and I'm like, there's like a line of 4 or 5 cars trying to get through this giant puddle. Like, it's just so stupid. Could have done what I did because I just went around it. I didn't care.
Yeah. I will say, though, that the typical low-lying spots that we have here in our little part of town and then on my way to work were absolutely flooded.
Were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it was almost up to the road right there in front of the middle school.
Okay, and see, now that makes sense. It was, I'm not going to lie, it's a little disappointing because I've seen this particular town in a flood.
Yeah, like
And
you couldn't get
we didn't get the same kind of notification for said flood. So when I got woke up this morning thinking we were all about to die from a tornado because I'm from Oklahoma and that's the only time those sirens, those noises go off. And then I pick it up and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I lay down. Then I read the message and it literally said, this is a life or death situation. Do not leave your homes unless there's an emergency. And I was like, oh, I don't want you to go to work. Then I went to the store and I was like, life, fish, life or death.
Yeah,
Shut up.
it was actually flooding. They made us try to go to school, and then when we all got stuck and stranded, they were like, okay, never mind, turn around.
Don't go to school. Don't go to school.
Listen, that's always what I mean, we are virtual learning right now with our kids, but that will never not be a thing. Like, every time they call school off now for sprinkling and people get mad, it's because of the debacle that happened last year. Because my kids had just gotten to school. Like, I got home and was getting ready to do my own thing. And then saw how bad the weather was. Parents started talking. I was like, maybe I should go get them. Maybe I'm not going to wait. Maybe I'll just go get them. Made it halfway to the school and realized they had just started riding the bus, and school had no idea how they were supposed to get home, and I didn't know what to do at that point. And we live in a small town. It's a very small pickup area that becomes very congested very quickly. And thankfully, we had last year, we had amazing teachers, and a teacher called me and was like, hey, so we're sending everybody home. What do you want to do with your kid?
Yeah.
I'm like, can you just put her on the bus? Because I really feel like if I come down there now, it's going to be just complete hell. Yeah. Do you want me to get your other kid too? Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Never again. That's why they do that, though. Everybody complains because we have the threat of a sprinkle, and they call it. It's because they fucked up big last time.
Yeah, like big.
I didn't even make it to the school. I was stranded at one of the banks, like on the road. They were coming home. They made it home. I still had to leave and go hunt down high schoolers and middle schoolers because not everybody knew kids were getting out of school and parents were at work. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I got you.
Now go get all of the children.
It took like an hour. It fucking sucked.
Just send them all home and let them walk down here.
Oh my goodness. I hadn't been to the middle school in at least 2 years, and our middle school, like, people complain about the pickup line for the elementary school. I promise you, the middle school is worse. And they're mean. Those parents done already gave up on pickup lines. They don't want to deal with it anymore. They're mean and rude. They'll get out of their car and kick yours. They don't want to share.
No, they're kind of assholes.
Everyone in Tennessee is kind of assholes.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, I would say yeah.
You okay over there, sir?
Yeah.
That's also what we've been dealing with this week.
Allergies.
So I do it quick so you don't dive into it.
Yeah. So allergies normally aren't so bad. I mean, our house is. My problem is that I take allergy medicine and it clears up one spot and then sends all of the problem to another spot, and now I have like nothing but chest congestion, and it's probably gonna be there for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And my ears are a little drainy, so that's awesome too.
My ears are itchy. My throat is itchy.
But see, then we know it's allergies,
Yeah.
not the COVID.
I just have a little bit of a stuffed up nose. Literally all I have.
Well, we've depleted 2/3 of tissues. I shall go get more tomorrow.
Everybody blowing their noses around here, got nasty used tissues all over the place.
Well, although apparently everybody thought we was about to hit Armageddon, and Kroger is pretty empty of things today. So I'm hoping I can find tissue tomorrow. Because the big towels hurt.
Toilet paper.
Fuck toilet paper. We need lotion paper. We are fucking
She needs
bougie.
lotion potion.
I don't want my little nose to get red and itchy.
You're not gonna wipe your nose with the same stuff you wipe your ass with?
I do, and it fucking hurts.
It does. You're right.
Preferably not with the same.
Yeah, let's not do.
wash.
Let's not jump in YouTube. You don't blow your nose and wipe
And
your ass.
if you have to, blow your nose, then wipe your
I
ass.
just said don't do that.
In that order.
Is that
Don't
order?
go the
You
other
wanna
way.
wipe your ass and then blow your nose.
Nose, mouth, ass.
Can you imagine being that person though, like in one of those weird situations where you just wiped and like the sneeze comes out of nowhere and your hand shoots up automatically and you got a handful of sheet paper?
I know there's someone out there.
They did that joke on Family Guy.
No, that would be so bad. I would die. I would die. I would be bathing in Lysol and bleach.
Yeah.
It's instant vomit.
I saw this TikTok where this mom, like, I guess was pretending to wipe, but she had peanut butter on her hand, and she wiped on her, like, toddler's mouth. And so the toddler ran outside crying, and then she started throwing up.
I've seen that, Jessica.
Oh my
There was
God.
one where they were like, hey, can you give me some toilet paper? And when she went to hand her the toilet paper, she had, like, chocolate pudding on her hand. And
Yeah.
the hand, all you hear on the other side of the door is the little girl go, what's that? What'd you do? What'd you do? Why? I was like, you're such a dick.
Oh my God, you gotta do that to Sophia after what she did to you. Oh my God.
I don't think the level of strength is right there. I think that rank is a little higher than what she
She probably slapped the shit out of me with your shit in. You did what?
I was wiping all over the store and all.
I got you.
Oh my God. What are your thoughts on this? Should we do it? I'm okay with doing it. I would do it.
I think a boy needs to do it because she would probably vomit.
And then you got vomit all over the carpet.
Mix some chunky peanut butter with some chocolate pudding.
A little bit of dehydrated corn. A little bit of dehydrated corn.
Oh my God. Her therapist is gonna have to.
We're about to have some lunch with this. Damn.
And then she put the poop.
Or have it on your hand. As you walk out of the bathroom and lick it.
That's so
I wonder if
happening.
you would touch your face when you're in a public restroom. You know, that whole, you got some toilet paper over there? What? Sorry.
No, wait,
Carry
what you
peanut
gotta do,
butter.
yeah. What you gotta do is you gotta hide a container in your jacket, and whenever you see somebody go into one of the stalls, you go, oh man, I can't make it, and then just plop all of it on the floor.
Splash a little.
Oh my God, chocolate pudding mixed with mayonnaise.
Nope, yeah, I'm gonna put out for real.
I don't want to shit like that.
You don't shit like brown?
That'd be a weird color.
A little bit of
That'd be like
What the hell are you eating?
that'd be like gray brown.
A little bit of the vegetable oil mixed in, so it's a little the consistency's a little looser.
I'm really trying not to
God.
Look, you started it.
Natural
All right.
peanut butter, by the way. That's
Don't
all you
start
need is natural peanut butter. It's already got oil in it.
Put red in it.
Maybe a couple pieces of string just for good measure. Like, I don't know what the hell I just ate.
It's happening. In the next 24 hours, your
Diet
child's
bread.
gonna hate me.
No.
It's funny.
So when you go to the store tomorrow, are you picking up chocolate pudding?
Probably
couple
not.
buttons
I
in
gotta
there.
pick up birthday dinner stuff tomorrow.
Would you eat a shirt?
That's fun. For who?
For the Godfather.
Yeah. I got
Cabbage corned beef.
5 corned beef sitting in the sink right now.
Holy fuck, another 5?
They'll be gone.
Yeah, he'll
tomorrow.
take it home anyway, so it doesn't
Okay.
matter. He'll take it to lunch. He'll take it home. It won't be left.
Cats will eat them.
They better not. Put it in a sink of water tonight. They can drown in that shit for all I care.
Shoot them damn cats. We're talking about that on the way home today.
Yeah.
What, shooting the cat?
Yeah, no.
Keep shooting.
Skin?
Keep shooting.
No, the fact that one of them literally grabbed one of the things of microwavable,
The Easy Mac.
the Easy Mac macaroni and cheese, and started carrying it up the stairs.
Like, I just got my own lunch down.
Oh my God.
I put it in my own bowl.
Was it Chester?
It was Cass.
It was
That fat ass. Oh my God.
It always reached his head under there, snatched it, and walked out like,
Holy shit.
nobody gonna feed me? I go make my own mac and cheese.
Holy shit.
Microwave upstairs.
We don't fucking feed them. All of their bowls are always full. They're just like, it's not human food.
I tasted it.
Yeah.
Yours is better.
Or when I've seen freaking Chester grab a whole loaf of bread and start
It was
tearing
Charlie.
through-
It was Charlie. And that
Oh,
loaf of
yeah,
bread
Charlie.
was twice twice her size, and she had it between her body and was tripping over it.
I don't know.
trying to carry it out.
I don't know who it was.
She was like, I take it all. It's all mine now.
I hate these cats.
They can't handle me anymore though. Like I'll be sitting in the kitchen on the footstool, and one of them will walk by and just go, and they'll literally like duck their head and keep going.
I didn't touch a single thing.
Just passing.
They're so. They turn into fucking crackheads after 12 though. Like I swear to God.
Yeah, they're so quiet during the day.
They
and
know
then
when
as soon as the
everyone
lights
goes to
go out,
bed.
they're like, party,
Yeah.
guys. The humans, they've gone away.
Like that one time Charlie jumped across the table and jumped on the very top of that like cabinet thing you got, and then stared at me, and I was like, what the fuck? And jumped down again.
Yeah, very recently she got the zoomies and fucking launched across the long end of the table and in two hops. One onto the middle of the table and then up into the hatch.
It's so fucking funny.
She's like,
This is Charlie?
We need to invest in a lot more catnip.
No.
Yeah, because some of them just lay down. Like Cash just lays there like a broken bunny rabbit.
It's so fucking funny.
Wouldn't be so bad that his fat spreads out when he does it, and you're just like,
That's a fact.
I don't know if you're cute or just oddly shaped now. You look like a jelly bean.
he does turn into a jelly bean. When he tucks his arms and goes into his fat, and he loses all appendages.
No.
Yeah. It's just he loses all appendages.
Like, where did the fat come from? God damn, Cat.
And I think he was the one that almost died.
Right?
He's the only one that's like that too, and he doesn't even eat that much
No, because technically Ruby weighs more than him by a pound.
with fur.
No, it's all her gut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's her fat pouch.
It's like she's got some balls,
Yeah.
bro. Like it's so
I feel
fucking
so bad.
funny.
Yeah, they completely botched her.
They really
surgery.
did. You should have like sued them or some shit.
It's the what's it called? Humane Society. It was free. It was like $15.
Should have wrote an email and be like,
It's not free. I had to rethink myself. I did have to pay
Like
something.
$15.
I had to pay
like
something.
$15 cheap fee. We're good.
They do it.
That's like I still have a question for you. Your hemp shit in there, the hemp lotion, says 50% more free, and I've looked at it for 20 years. What does 50% more free mean?
Like,
Did you get the little price? No, it says 50% more free.
Because you paid the price of a bottle smaller than that, and they upped it by 50%, the volume of the lotion, and you paid the same price.
Free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got the 50% more of it for free. You didn't pay for that part of it.
I've looked at it for you've had that same bottle since I've known you, and it's traveled through every house. I've just looked at it. I've been looking at it. I've been like, 50% more free. What is it? Did they pay you?
Yeah. Take this lotion.
They
You don't-
charge you for that bottle the same price that they would a bottle that's
Half that size.
Free.
Yeah, you confused yourself now.
so they give you an 18-ounce bottle
Yeah,
for the price of a 12-ounce.
but it's free.
No, you pay
The
for
eight-
it. That
the
extra
extra-
50% is free.
Yeah.
Because you got it. And you didn't pay
But it
for
doesn't
it.
say 50% free. It says 50% more free.
No, so it was
So
already a little
50%
discounted.
more of the product is free. You get the extra 6 ounces
For free.
for free.
They gotta put a comma. 50% more free. Not 50% more free.
I bet there's a lot of people out there that would, nope, we're just going to move on now.
What?
Thank you for catching up.
I didn't take my my brain pills.
I didn't either. Probably should have.
Sound like it.
Yeah, the brainy thing. Yeah. So you've got to tell the story about the text messages last night before we go on break.
Sure.
Started off with
Yeah, I got things I got.
not saying who it was, but
Right. So occasionally I get phone calls on my phone because apparently that number belongs to somebody else, which is fine. Whatever. and it'll be like the same area code, which I don't know anybody in the area code. I only got the phone because we were a military family. That was the area code we were in. So I get a text message though, and it's from this area code that says, "Hi John, it's Kate. My baby's still pooping pink. I don't know what to do. Please help." And literally like 10 seconds later, another one comes through that's like, "John," and I'm like, "What the fuck? First of all, why is your baby pooping pink? You don't understand any of this message." So I text it back, and I'm like, "Hey, this is definitely not John. You should probably just go to the ER." Just trying to be helpful. And then the person's like, "Okay, sorry." And I was like, I mean, I would seriously just go to I don't know what you want. Go to the ER, okay? Because I don't think John can help with pink poop. And the person's like, says something like, "Thank you," and then in like little parentheses, like takes notes. And I'm thinking,
oh, it's fake whenever it's parentheses.
or it was a little star thing where it says takes, asterisk,
Oh,
and it says
okay.
takes notes. And I'm like,
They did it
"Are
right.
you being an asshole?" And I was like, I laughed, and I was like, just trying to be helpful. But I really would go to the ER. I hope you reach John, though. Have a good day, random person. And then there's a little span of time, nothing comes through. And then a text comes through that's like, "Sorry, this is a prank message from Sophia and her friend. And it's my child sent me these fucking messages." And I was
From her friend's phone,
From her-
from the sleepover
She's
last
10.
night. She's
10.
Crazy, bro.
This is why they shouldn't have phones.
She's 10. She gets home today, she's like, "Did you like my joke?" And then I get a message from one of our friends that's like, "Why is your daughter prank calling me?" I was like, "I don't know. Welcome to it."
That's just one of our from the guy.
Yeah, it's
Oh my
family.
God.
It's family. He's like,
Yeah.
"Your daughter's prank calling me right now." And I was like, "I don't know what to tell
Why are
you."
they prank calling her? I couldn't guess why they figured out that phone number.
Because,
Funny because she said the same thing when she got home. She's like, "I wonder if he wondered how I got his phone number."
Fucking.
Because two people at the same time sent the same message to her. Hey, do him next. His phone number. Both of you. At the same time.
It was funny. I love my kids. I'm not raising weird people at all. Well, my mom said it's okay because someday you'll understand and you'll have a daughter who's just like you or worse. Ha ha ha, joke's on you. She's like 100 times worse, and I'm not really sure I'm going to live through it. So thanks, Mom. Thanks for the curse.
and then there was the preteen boys teenage boys that, slept over at the house.
Yeah, so
There's already ways.
that has been happening for a long time. This is our 12-year-old doesn't really do sleepovers, so this was like his first actual having somebody sleep at our house sleepover, and love his best friend. But I'm not used to preteen boys. Like I've never done. Austin was just like he did his own. They went and hung out in his room, did his own. They just did whatever. This one's not the same, and so they stayed downstairs. And our house is really, really not made for the level of people that we have. And so they
level of noise.
Right. So they hung out downstairs, and so somebody had to, a mom needed to be up to make sure that they actually went to bed and shit. And we had storms all night, and yeah, it's a long week. Yeah, I hope these allergies go away though.
Yeah, it wasn't as annoying as it usually is when Sophia and her
It's not
friends.
girls.
Holy shit, dude! My irritation, is above the wall whenever they're over there. Like it's okay, later in the night, but past midnight and they're still up, being loud as fuck, out in the hallway playing after I've told them 60 times to go in the fucking room and play. I'm just like, birth control. Honestly.
That's why we do it. Glad it's working.
Yeah. Only when they come over. He was sweet.
He is very sweet. He is very sweet.
Although I don't
He
think
just has a lot of. He just has a lot more aggressive energy.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Him and Liam kept bitching at each other, and
A little
I
bit.
really wanted to yell at them and be like, "Hey, stop being bitches." But then I was like, I don't know. I'll let them
They're
work it out.
both learning because neither one of them really do sleepovers.
Yeah.
They're really great for a few hours. They're best friends, but they're still learning to be around each other for more than like 2 hours at a time.
Oh yeah, they were getting into it last night about what fucking game they wanted to play, and I was like, oh my god, just shut up. Play Jenga. Because fucking Liam wanted to go upstairs and play Minecraft, and I was like, okay, well that's already gonna be a no, because I'm not letting some weird child in our messy ass room. Not weird child, a child who's never had here before
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. That was already a no anyway.
Yeah.
That's
And
why we
then
came upstairs.
he was like, well, I want to play Twister. And he was like, well, why don't we just play Jenga instead? So Liam was playing Jenga, he was playing Twister by himself, so we're taking turns doing both, and I was like, okay, boom, solved.
I didn't even know they had Twister out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, you know, that loud ass fucking noise whenever Liam fell before?
Yeah, I thought it was Jenga.
No, that was Twister. That was Liam's body.
Oh, he's getting a little sick, isn't he?
And on that note, we'll be right back.
Behind the screen, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Behind the Screen Radio Show.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. If you would like to talk to us, you can call in 718-664-9735. Again, 718-664-9735. That'll bring you directly into the studio with us, or you can message us on the live feed on the Facebook page for Behind the Screen Radio Show. We will either message you back either on the stream or on the air. All right, so tonight we are talking about another Netflix movie, mainly because there hasn't been a whole lot of movies in Hollywood that have been coming out. Tonight we are talking about Outside the Wire, starring Anthony Mackie and Damson Idris. So,
Yes, we are.
That we are, indeed.
yes, tonight.
Here's the thing. Been pretty impressed with the level of movies most of the time that like at least Netflix puts out. If we're looking at like just streaming networks like Hulu and Netflix,
Yeah.
things like that,
Yeah.
Disney Plus.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah, the streaming services.
So 90% of the time, I'm actually like I watch some of these movies, and I'm like, man, like I would have gone and watched something like this in the theater. This is a really good movie. I'm not saying anything about tonight. I'm just saying like they're the Old Guard.
Yes.
Like that was a badass movie.
Yes,
and
that
it was
was a
well
good movie.
made.
Yeah.
It looked awesome. There was no like skimping on script and writing and set and all that stuff. Like these are really good movies, and so I don't mind that we do some of these originals because I think we need recognition.
Absolutely. Netflix has the quality of their originals has actually really gone up a lot.
Especially since they first started, since they first were order our streaming services and started doing originals.
Yeah, yeah. One of the ones that I can remember, one of the first good ones that I really liked was Bright. That's
Oh, yeah.
Will Smith.
Love that
Yeah.
movie.
And it got a lot of negative reviews.
Which is
A lot of
weird.
negative reviews. At the time, I mean, Hollywood was putting out some really good movies.
True, but it was fun, and it was fun and it was different.
Yeah.
I liked it because, so obviously over the years, I've become more inclined to watch horror movies with you because you're a horror fan.
Yes.
And so we do watch a lot of those, and I enjoy them for the most part. We also watch more war movies than we used to, war-related movies, soldier-related movies
Yeah.
than we used to,
Yeah.
and I enjoy those. But my heart has always been more fantasy
Mhm.
and comedy. And Bright offered both.
Yeah.
And it was different.
And
it
about
had
action.
yes, and
Yeah.
it had whole different cool ass characters and I loved the movie.
Yeah. It was definitely a different movie. But here recently, a lot of Netflix originals, they've been taking bigger stars and putting them in low budget movies. The budget for this movie, if I can find it, maybe no. I can't seem to find it. I don't know if they put it on here.
Well, they might not because it is a streaming service movie.
Yeah, either way. So yeah, they are lower budget, obviously.
Sure.
And,
but
I
they
mean,
don't always
yeah.
look it as a thing.
No, they put a lot of because they don't have to advertise.
They don't.
They
They're
don't
not
have to
paying a
do that.
middleman either.
No,
They're not. We're watching it at home for free.
Yeah, yeah. So they have everything okay?
Yes.
They have
The
the
outside world.
ability to put more money into these movies that they don't have to advertise for. They don't have to put out to the theaters. They send them directly to their streaming service. So all the money goes into the movie. So they're able to produce almost theater quality movies for streaming services.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but they've done a lot of action movies here recently. If we look at the past couple movies that we've looked at, and we've reviewed, like Six Underground that starred Ryan Reynolds. You have the one that starred Chris Hemsworth. I can't think of the name right off the top of my head. Those are a lot of like really action-packed movies that have a lot less dialogue and storyline to them. It's a one Extraction. Thank you. It's basically a one plot movie, and then we get to this movie, which was very action-packed. There's a lot of blood, a lot of guts, a lot of shooting, a lot of fighting. But one of the biggest issues that I had with this movie, and I'm going to start off with that, is the fact that you start off with this one plot line, and then the plot line goes in 4 different directions. And in the time that they had to develop those plot lines, it really just kind of got all jumbled and just
You
kind
always
of
go with the splitting. I think it just changed. You do the same thing for Batman versus Superman and all these other movies. I don't think it splits. I think it just changes. So I was able to follow it quite well. I understood what was going on.
When I say split, I mean that it actually goes in a couple different directions, because you have this one singular plot line, but then you have this action that creates another plot line, and because of that deviant plot line, you've got another deviant plot line, then you've got another deviant plot line.
Yeah.
And that's what they did in this movie.
Yeah.
Um,
You get progressed. That's what that means.
But that's what it was supposed to do. But it just didn't. For me, it didn't work well for the movie.
I feel like it worked as well as it needed to. It was Soldier blows up some helpful people, and then he gets almost jailed for it, and then he doesn't get jailed, and then he is sent to do this mission with this robot-like guy, and then the robot-like guy is like, actually, that's not happening. We're doing what I want to do. And then from there, it's just more and more of what he wants to do. Really.
Right, but then he splits off and he is now working with the main bad guy.
He's not. That was just his cover. He was working with all 3. We find out that he's working with all 3 to achieve his goal. The reason he went to that one is so he could kill them. There was no actual piece of that plot line where he changed and was working with him. He went there so he could kill him under the guise of working with all 3. Because the main character, Harvey. Harvey, thought that he was on a mission with him.
Hart.
And then Hart. So
Yeah.
Harvey.
Hart.
So they called him P at some point. There was a E at the end.
It may have been like a joke or something but it's Lieutenant Hart.
Well, it was at one point it was him thinking that, or not at one point, all at the same point, it was him thinking that he was working for him, and then the Resistance girl thought that he was working for him, and the bad guy thought he was working for him. They all thought that they were working with Leo, but he rused all 3.
Right.
Now, obviously, I had a movie where I sort of fell asleep. So
Sort of. Oh, you were cracking the fuck out.
I was.
Yeah, I didn't go into this thinking it was a blockbuster.
It
So
wasn't.
I didn't
Yeah.
watch it with like high hopes, but I didn't fall asleep.
I didn't hate it. It was just it wasn't as attention grabbing as I'd hoped for. So when I saw the preview, damn, that was really cool.
Yeah.
It was pretty slow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so admittedly, and Dan knows this, I have a little bit of ADD. I don't watch TV during the day unless I literally make myself sit down. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this week's episode of a show I really like.
Yeah.
But 90% of the time, I don't watch TV during the day, and I have a hard time with slow movies. I'll be on my phone if I hate it. I don't have the attention span for that kind of stuff, and so I lost out on some of the movie. I don't remember Harp shooting Leo, or why.
Oh, he shot him a couple times.
No, in the end.
Oh. So, what Leo was trying to do was trying to bring an end to the war.
Yeah, just like
No, I did.
So, oh,
You okay?
No,
Shut up.
smoking.
Yeah.
I was saying cancer, not 'cause
No.
reverse.
Look, according to statistics, I'm more likely to die of COVID than I am of cancer. So,
Anyway.
pick one, dude.
Joke.
I'm just kidding. Don't pick one.
Okay, so anyway, Leo was basically trying to, Captain Leo, was basically trying to put an end to the war.
Right.
So his thought was to bring the U.S. out of the Eastern European area and bring them back home.
Okay.
So the way he was going to do that was he was going to launch a Russian missile at a United States city and basically nuke like D.C. or New York or something like that.
Well, more specifically, what he wanted to do was, it wasn't just that. He wanted to make sure that he was never built again. So he was going to get rid of the perimeter, as they call themselves, and that's like the military group that built him.
Yeah.
So he wanted to bomb that.
Yeah. Which I think was in D.C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason it was so
It was twofold.
For,
It was a
um,
twofold reason.
for Harp, if that was mass killing,
Yeah.
but to the other two people, it was collateral because he was hitting something that was important, but there was a lot of civilian life around it.
Yeah. And, they weren't worried about
They were looking at greater good.
They weren't looking at American collateral damage because Americans don't look at
There.
at their collateral damage.
Yeah, and I don't think that was 3 plot points. I think that was just everybody had a different story, and then it was literally an argument. It was 3 different stories and then the truth.
Right.
Because you had Hart, who thought that they were going to be helping the insurgents, or not the insurgents, the opposite of that, the resistance against the insurgents.
Right.
And then you had her thinking that she was going to get rid of Americans in the Russian, Croatian area. Croatian?
They didn't, Eastern Europeans. They had another name for.
It's the one underneath Russia.
Kosovo?
No, I don't remember. And then the bad guy thought that he was just going to give him the missiles so he could do what he was going to do, which was bomb any big city.
Right.
And all of those were wrong. Because
Right.
it was him wanting to get rid of himself.
The thing is the plot lines weren't developed enough for it to be honestly worth a damn in the movie.
But I followed it.
I mean, it wasn't. I'm not saying it was hard to follow. I'm saying they weren't developed enough. It was a little jumbled, and then you're trying to figure out, okay, so what the fuck is going on here?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't. I was following it.
Right, and I think the basic premise of it is good. And then I look at yours, and the reality is that this is a 2-hour movie. They had plenty of time to develop what they needed to.
Yeah. They were trying to develop the relationship between Lieutenant Harp and Captain Leo, and even that didn't develop very well. Even that was.
I think the thing that they did best though was Harp's character development. There was many points where he just had these build-ups where he was like, and it wasn't immediately like the first time he got shot at. It wasn't like, oh, I see what I was missing out on. Like it took most of the movie.
It did.
He did play a very green soldier. He did that well.
Yes. Yeah.
He did that very well.
But I will say that one of the issues that I did have was the overdevelopment of Lieutenant Harp's character.
I feel like that was most of the movie
Yeah, I think if we look at,
It was the show that, not only was it the show that robots are bad, like I feel like there was probably some kind of political message in here. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
very obvious.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, it's right along the same lines as like Terminator and the Matrix.
Yeah.
You know,
And-
developing AI.
yeah.
But then also you have this where it's like, the main problem is the unhumanization.
Right. So when we look at people that do, okay, so for example, the Godfather's job for a long time in his second job in the Marine Corps was basically pushing the button that would send missiles.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. When you're pushing the button, you're not thinking about what it's going to do.
Right.
Like, you want to see it hit its target, you want to see it blow up. You're not really thinking about the collateral.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the drones. They're not looking at, it's like social media. They're not looking at
The impact.
the impact that what they're doing is what is happening when they do stuff, and when they fuck up, that real lives get messed up. They're looking at a job, and that's with any industry. If you're working in a risky or risque or whatever industry, you stop looking at things as what they are, and they become objects, so that you can get through the job.
Yeah.
And it was teaching him to stop looking at things as objects.
I think
These
it was
are real
teaching- I
people,
think
and
it
what
was-
you're doing is affecting real people.
I think they were trying to teach a lot of people more than just him, that it's more than just.
Yeah, these are real
Objects.
people and not objects. This isn't like a target on a screen. It's on a video game.
It's not collateral damage. It's people.
It's real
I think the
people.
best quote in it was that because I've thought about it that way, where taking soldiers off the field sounds great, so you replace them with robots.
Yeah.
But then
Because
he
they're
was
real
like, once these robots are in place, the war would be never ending.
Absolutely,
Because
because
it would.
Yeah.
more times than not, even though there are definitely military. Because I hesitate to say soldier, marine, airman, whatever. There are definitely military personnel that at some point, after multiple deployments, or the way that they were, especially back in the day, the way they were trained, they lose a sense of empathy. Then they stop looking at people as people, whether they're there in person or not. They stop looking at people as people. They don't really give a shit.
Right.
And for sure, if we were to send in robots, there would be zero empathy. They don't give a fuck.
Well, the thing is, and you know, kind of following along the logic that Austin was saying, is that wars normally end when somebody says, "Okay, I'm done with my people getting killed."
Not enough.
Yeah, we've had. I mean, that's how World War II ended. We dropped 2 big nuclear bombs on Japan, and Japan was like, "Okay, you need to stop killing our people. We're done."
Yeah, stop.
Yeah. That's how wars end.
So the way that World War II ended are the only 2 ways that you can end a war. It's either you kill enough people that they stop, or you cut off the head.
Right.
And that's how we ended the West. That's how we ended the Southern War and the Northern War.
Yeah, Eastern and Western.
2 different. Well, be Eastern and Western. They both be on the Western,
No.
Eastern side.
Eastern is Japan, Western was Germany. East and West.
They're like this and this though.
It's just the way that they look at it
It was east and
in
west,
proximity to where they were at.
Japan. Yeah. Because Japan's east of the U.S. and Germany's west. That's how.
That's
how,
a weird way
Yeah,
to look at
Yeah,
it.
Western
so-
world and the Eastern world.
Yeah.
The Far East, and then you got Western
we're northern.
civilization.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
two different parts of the war, 2 different endings.
Yeah.
Really the only 2 ways you can end the war.
Absolutely.
Right. And if you had robots or some sort of automaton that's not a person,
Empathetic being.
well, even not even an empathetic being, the leaders wouldn't be empathetic because
This is
actual
robots.
people wouldn't be
Well,
getting
the
wouldn't be
leaders
killed.
wouldn't matter either, because if you kill them, they would still keep going.
And that's the
Yeah.
thing is, you have to look at it from, you're right, you have to look at it from both sides. So that side over there doesn't give a shit because they're killing robots. But this side over here doesn't give a shit because they don't care.
Yeah.
They have one mission, and if you're in the way, you're dying. They don't care if you're a child, a woman, what you are.
Also, if we designed robots like the Gumps in the movie, that'd be the same way of designing a car. We'd
The-
probably burn the ozone layer before the wars would end.
The sad part is that you have to look at every movie made every movie made with a level of reality. To think that we aren't developing these things
Well, we totally are.
would be remiss. Yeah,
We're developing that right now. That's why
absolutely.
this movie matters.
Do we think they'll heed the caution? No. No.
No, I mean, we're
It's
still using AI. I mean,
Yeah, it'll happen.
look at the cautionary tale, and I both love and hate to use this example, but we look at the cautionary tale of the Terminator series.
Mhm.
You know, when we look at developing artificial intelligence, Jesus,
Yeah, 'cause
right into the microphone on that.
Sorry.
The first AI in the first movie was, or I guess the story that went from the first movie, that one wasn't even meant to be militarized.
In Terminator,
Yeah.
it was all full military.
Well, the robots were, but Skynet wasn't supposed to be.
No, so the basic storyline of the basic premise of Terminator is that humans developed Skynet to or the U.S. developed Skynet as a system to be able to detect and defend against. God damn it!
Yeah, usually it's me, but I'm actually being really quiet tonight.
Please, Zoe.
All noise is coming from you.
Please,
Is
Zoe.
it coming from your bottle or your nose
Or my chest.
or your chest?
All right, let's go.
All right. So the basic premise of Terminator is that the U.S. develops an artificial intelligence that can detect threats and potential threats against the U.S. The artificial intelligence is able to learn and adapt.
Yeah.
And basically, the premise of that is the premise of every robot uprising movie ever, is that these robots
Yeah.
and this AI will develop and figure out that the easiest way to end war, to end conflict, is to end human civilization.
Mhm.
Because it's humans that create war.
Yeah.
And that's what Skynet does. That takes over the nuclear rockets and weapons of United States, launches them, and in turn, our enemies launch theirs. It's essentially a nuclear holocaust.
Yeah.
And then you have the Terminators that go out and are trying to eliminate the rest of human resistance. And even that's not being heeded, because you look at commercials, even on TV, that says, we are developing, AI to help you run your business. We even have forms of AI in our house. You look at all of these Echo devices, our phones, Siri, Google Home. These are all forms of AI. They're not self-aware AI, but they are AI.
They still have a potential to be intruding on people's lives. They have potential for it. I'm not saying that they do,
Right.
but they have the potential for
But
it.
right now, they are limited to the programming that they are given by their human creators.
Right.
When we look at, like Captain Leo in this movie, and we look at, like, the Terminator, and we look at the Matrix series and stuff like that,
Right.
those AIs developed
They're self-aware.
to become self-aware.
Yeah.
And that's what, and that's what we are actually trying to create, is a self-aware artificial intelligence, which, to be honest, is kind of stupid.
It's scary.
It is kind of scary, because if we look at it, the reason why the world is fucked up is because of humans.
Well, and we already have a level of it. We have programs where people can create social media accounts. The person looks completely human.
Yeah.
And can say whatever they want, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're not real. And you would never know.
Yeah, deepfakes.
Deepfakes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the level of real that they look is beyond scary. Because honestly, and people need to realize this, honestly, when you're online and you're doing stuff and you're talking to people, especially through social platforms, like, just be aware. You don't know who or what you are actually talking to. You don't know.
Yeah.
And we've seen it. I've seen the videos of these deepfakes, and they are scarily real.
Yeah. So, and to his credit, when Captain Leo was trying to destroy the people that created him, that was basically an altruistic action or altruistic act on his part, because he could calculate and predict the future.
This was Age of Ultron, but with one guy saving the world. That's all this was.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, so did you know that it was shot at Kellenfold Power Station, which was also the shooting location for the Chernobyl Diaries?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm.
And when you see him move, it was actually kind of loosely based on the Terminator.
Yeah.
Like, he moved the same, especially when he was running. He moved his arms in the same way that the Terminator T-1000 runs after Sarah, and the T-800 in T2 Judgment Day runs.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Although most of their tie-ins, when we look at it, we know that Anthony Mackie is from Avengers.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ties between this character and his appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's often referred to as Cap.
Yeah.
He is called the War Machine.
Yeah.
And then states that I could do this all day, which is a line from
Captain America.
Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at one point, he refers to his body as a sleeve.
Yeah.
Which is also what it's called in Altered Carbon, which is a show.
Which is
If she's in. Yeah.
Anthony Mackie?
Yes.
I didn't know he was in Altered Carbon. I haven't seen it, but
I think I actually, there's literally only like 6 spoilers, by the way. I watched a couple episodes a long time ago when it first came out, and it looked interesting. I just didn't get
last year.
Well, I didn't get into it. Like, I couldn't grab it.
Yeah.
And then obviously another throwback to the Terminator stuff is, that's why I was asking the question, is when Harp shoots him in the end.
Yeah.
It's similar to when Sarah shoots the T-1000 in T2.
Yeah, his movement and the way that he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed a couple of those, like the running.
Yeah.
He runs exactly like the T-1000 in, Terminator 2.
Yeah.
With his arms real straight and the hands really straight.
the perfect way to run if all you're doing is whirling gears.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when humans run, the way that we run, of course, hands relaxed. And when we move our arms, it's actually power that we are delivering to our body.
Yeah.
So.
It's supposed to be weird to move without arms because then you get unbalanced and weird.
Right. Well, running is both arms and legs.
That's what I'm saying. But if you ran without arms, you'd probably trip.
It'd be funny. It'd be fucking hilarious to see somebody running.
Oh my god, if he ran like that in this movie.
No, I don't want to.
He ran like
his arms out by his side.
That would be funny.
Like Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes.
Go on.
Oh man.
So I had to move over to like the goof side because there was only a few facts. And there was a lot of like errors in the movie.
Yeah.
So obviously one of the biggest ones, and we all know this because we are a military family, Marines address each other several times as soldier in the movie.
Yeah.
That's not how that works,
No.
guys. That's not how that works.
No.
They don't ever say that, actually.
No.
Soldier?
Yeah,
They don't call each other soldiers.
they're not soldiers. They're
They're
Marines.
Oh,
Army
I see what you
soldier.
mean.
Yeah.
And then Leo,
But
at some point,
no, they're not soldiers.
claims that Harp has 56,000 flight hours.
Yeah.
Harp has been in for like 3 years, and in order to amass 56,000 flight hours, he'd have to work like 12 hours a day for 13 years. So
Yeah.
no, he doesn't.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing because I heard that they said 3 years because he started whenever he was like 18.
Yeah, like he's fairly young.
Yeah.
I was like, that. Damn.
Like, did you just never stop?
So you're just sitting there constantly, every day, all day,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no wonder you fucked up.
Yeah. Eat, sleep, drink, drone.
Like, you exhausted, motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, maybe that adds to the story. I don't know. Maybe he did work so hard that he just really screwed up.
No.
Yeah.
That's a lot of flight.
It is a lot of flight hours.
Yeah, it was a lot. I feel like the
Probably should have been 5,600.
yeah, I think the person that said it probably didn't mean thousands.
Yeah. That was actually Anthony Mackie that said it.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was the Marine that said it.
No.
One of the Marines that he was whenever he was a best court-martialed but didn't, they were like, you do a lot of things, a lot of flight hours.
No, he said it and when Leo was talking to Hart in Leo's office, and telling him, that he knows all about him.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest issues that I had in this, and you and I were talking about this yesterday, and this is one of the things that bothered the Godfather, was that any time Leo picked up anything more than a pistol, he would shoot like 3 rounds out of it and then throw it.
I don't know. You guys have always had problems with that. In every single movie, if somebody doesn't fire the full clip, but the man can just punch somebody and kill them. Like, he can fire as much as he wants.
Okay, so the thing is, one of the biggest issues that I have, and it's a magazine, not a clip. Clip's the thing that you put the rounds into the magazine.
I don't care.
One of the biggest issues that I had was, so they had a Mark 19, which is the semi-automatic grenade launcher.
Yeah. And he shot 2.
He shot 2 at a gun, and it destroyed it. But then he threw it down.
Yeah.
He had at least 4 more rounds in there.
Maybe. If somebody didn't fire him first.
But they didn't. Hart literally threw it on his back and was carrying it.
But they got it from the resistance people. Mine only had 2 shots.
Still. I mean, if that's the case.
I think it was kind of showing that the resistance was desperate, and that's why they were entrusting an American robot.
Right, but I mean, you would think that they would have handed him a fully loaded.
No, I mean, I think that they might have just not had the ammo for it, because if they picked it up off of somebody that had already fired it from the insurgents, then it wouldn't be full.
Right, but they're arms dealers, so they're gonna have.
Not the resistance. They're not arms dealers.
Sophia was.
She wasn't.
Yeah, she was. That's how they paid. That's how she paid for the orphanage. She literally said it. Because Hart said, "Oh, you're an arms dealer." She's like, "How do you think we pay for this?" And I had crates and crates of munitions right there.
Maybe a grenade launcher was not their specialty. They had a lot of AKs.
They had a lot of rifles, yeah. But it's still annoying because if you have a full magazine and you only fire it a couple times and you throw it away, then you're losing the stopping power of that rifle. Because a rifle that shoots even a 22 long rifle bullet, 223, which is the civilian equivalent of the NATO 5.56, or 7.62, that's way more stopping power than a 9mm round out of the pistol that he was shooting from.
True, but any of those bullets can go through your head and kill you. And the pistol's a lot more maneuverable.
Right.
The man's an aimbot.
But but if he's an aim, right. But if he can aim, then you would think he would want something with a lot more stopping power and ammunition carrying capability.
Listen, the only thing that I was happy with was that he shot the Uzi. It looked like one. No, it was a MP5 that the bad guy. I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
He had a big old Russian name.
Yeah, Victor.
He had that, and he reloaded it, and I was like, all right, that's enough for me.
Yeah, he reloaded once in the entire movie.
But the thing is he never fired any other gun more than it could reload.
Oh, he fired a 9mm way more than what he had in there.
But he had clips for it because it was his.
But you never saw it.
Or magazines, whatever.
Yeah, you never saw him reload ever.
No, but he did a lot of things off screen. He ran a lot.
I'm trying to find his name now.
He parkoured a lot.
Victor Koval.
Yeah.
And it's funny because because Victor Koval's way down at the bottom of the cast list. Like I had to
Because he was
go.
on, his name wasn't in a lot, but the actual cast
Yeah.
person was only in it for
Yeah.
2 minutes.
That.
So one of the big issues that I had when we were watching it, and I remember mentioning it to you when we watched it, was that his body armor didn't look like body armor. Like, it didn't look like body armor. It looked stupid.
No, it was literally
So,
just the
He
cloth.
was literally
Yeah.
wearing the plate carrier, but there were no plates in it.
Right.
Didn't have any. It's super thin, and you could see that it moved when he walked.
Yeah.
There was no pouches to carry ammo, radios, first aid, or any other gear. It was literally useless for him to be wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was purpose.
Unless
They weren't supposed to look threatening. That's the whole point.
Right, but he should have had plates in the armor.
well,
But then it looks threatening.
okay.
No, it doesn't.
Let's hold on, because I'm gonna refute that for just a second. Because this is the year 2036,
Uh-huh.
and even right now they're developing a form of. I know, but listen, they are developing a form of body armor that's called dragon skin. What it is it is a Kevlar, and I'm probably gonna misquote this, but carbon fiber Kevlar.
Alloy. Mesh.
It's not a mesh, yeah, like a composite
Mhm.
woven together that is capable of stopping, I want to say 5.56 rounds at a long distance, and it was something that was being developed a long time ago. It's
But at the
so-
same time, he made him take off his helmet. His helmet can't shoot. He made sure that they weren't threatening in any way.
True, but I want to point out that if we have plates in the armor, it does not look threatening.
It does look threatening.
It doesn't. I've
It
seen it.
immediately
for the last
makes
10
you
years.
look buff.
It doesn't. The plating is fairly thin.
it's not. It's about an inch.
Okay, but it doesn't make you look threatening. It
No.
literally just looks both
The other
vest,
Marines
that's
were
it.
wearing plates, and they looked 10 times scarier just with armor on.
But in a situation where you are in a threatening zone,
It's not threatening if they're not threatening.
it absolutely makes sense for those soldiers to be wearing plates.
He wasn't a soldier in that essence. He was a carrier.
So okay, so I'm gonna explain this a little bit.
The soldiers were wearing armor.
So basically, what Captain Leo and Lieutenant Harp were doing, so their mission, quote unquote, was a humanitarian aid mission.
The first part of the mission. The
Yeah.
mission that the military thought they were doing.
Yeah, was to deliver vaccines.
Mhm.
When I was deployed, on some of the FOBs that I were on, obviously we had special forces on there. Now, I'm not saying special forces as in Green Berets and stuff like that. I'm talking about SOCOM, Special Operations Command.
Yeah.
And when they went out, they would go out in civilian clothes. They would go out in plate carriers, which is a lot smaller, a lot lighter, and a lot more maneuverable than the IBA that I would wear.
Mhm.
And it looked very similar to what he was wearing.
Mhm.
Of course, they had plates in theirs.
Yeah.
But and they would go out and interact with the civilian population.
Yeah, I think literally the only point for him wearing it was so it was literally like whenever you have a detective during a police raid, all they wear is something that identifies them, and I think that's all. It
Well,
was
they
meant
wear
to be.
bulletproof vests.
Yeah, but they're just wearing something that identifies them. Like they're just wearing one thing that identifies them. They're not wearing a whole get up like everyone else.
Right.
I think that's all it was meant to do. It was meant to be
And-
non-threatening in an identifier.
Right. And the reason why Captain Leo had Lieutenant Hart take his helmet off is because they had actually veered away from their route,
Mhm.
and they were walking through the civilian populace,
Mhm.
and anybody wearing a helmet is automatically considered a soldier, and you're a target. That's why
Yeah.
he said, take your helmet off, you'll be less threatening.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the vest is literally just an identifier, so Americans don't shoot it.
Right.
It might even just be an identifier for the guns, because if they see you as U.S. military, they won't shoot you, but if they see you as civilian, you're collateral.
Right. And it could have even been identifier to the civilian population that knew that the U.S. was there to quote unquote help.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of themes in this movie, though. A lot of things that we talk about now,
Yeah.
and this is 15 years in the future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's always like unrest in certain parts of Eastern Europe, and there has been speculation that that's where the next conflict is going to be.
Yeah, it's not going to be a world war.
No.
If there's a world war, everyone would die.
Like Civil War.
Yeah.
Kind of like what was happening in the Middle East for a long time.
I mean, they're kind of doing that right now. There's a lot of political unrest over there.
Yeah.
Between what nation
Should have what. And
Yeah.
They're still, even, almost 30 years later,
Mhm.
still trying to recover from the split of the USSR.
Yeah. The Irish just only recovered from the potato famine. For that.
Yeah. So, one of the big political messages in this movie
Mhm.
was the U.S. is involved in every conflict that happens in the world.
Yep.
And it was basically a U.S. go home message, that we don't need to be involved in every conflict that comes about.
I don't even think it's a need to be. It is one of those things where a lot of them have been for some kind of gain. Like, we know that if we help one side, we'll get something out of it.
Oh yeah,
Like oil.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Desert Storm.
Yeah.
We were
It's one of those things where if those two countries collide, one person will win,
right.
and then that person will take over that area.
Right.
Usually it's either so we can keep that territory, or we'll get resources.
Right. Well, the Desert Storm was to prevent Saddam Hussein from taking control of a major portion of the world's oil reserve.
Mm-hmm. Because we were allies with those people.
Yeah.
And we would not get that oil.
Right. I mean, they asked for our help.
Yeah.
But, which is how.
But we did it for the oil.
Yeah, of course we did.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, if we didn't help with anything, well, most things, if we didn't help with anything that wasn't a world war or like a bigger war,
Yeah.
it would still settle itself, and the U.S. itself would be okay.
Yeah, which is one of the main reasons why Saddam bombed the towers. But that's
Yeah.
a whole nother political issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a big political undertone to the movie. It's almost reminiscent of what was happening when we went in to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Vietnam was nothing that we should have been involved in, obviously.
No, they quite openly talk about that in school now as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
But because there was no, at least not in the movie that I can remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
there was no reason given as to why the U.S. was there.
Movie?
No, yeah, in the movie, for the movie. Why the U.S. was in Eastern Europe.
Oh, okay, yeah. There wasn't. The resistance arms dealer person talked about it. How the only reason they were over there was for political and resource gain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that if they took over that area with the resistance and also partially U.S. territory, they would also technically have partial access to those nukes.
Right.
And so what it was the biggest reason that we were there was so Russia didn't get their nukes back. That's what it was.
Okay.
They
okay.
did that. A third of the power was in.
That's right,
that
because
country.
Russia was supporting Victor.
Yeah.
And then Victor went rogue to go get the nukes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the whole reason that they were so that Russia would want to get a whole third of its power back.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Which, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you look it up, they still have more bombs than us, which I guess would be scarier with
No.
a third of it.
No.
Is it China? There's 2 countries that have more nukes than us. And I can't remember what they are. I think it's China and Korea.
That we know of.
That we know of.
Look, I'll be honest.
If we're hiding stuff, do you not think that they're not hiding stuff? If our numbers went up from hidden nukes, I'm pretty sure theirs would too.
Right. I still think that we are more powerful than most other nations.
I don't think so. Especially because we have
more influence.
Well, we also have more restrictions. And even if you're like, oh, well, there's things that bypass those restrictions in human rights. Yes, but there are other countries that care way less about it.
Right, but we actually have the biggest military.
We have the biggest
and
military.
the biggest military force.
Oh, yeah, the biggest navy.
We
There's
have the
places that
biggest-
still have the biggest navy. UK still has the biggest,
No.
still has the biggest navy.
No, we have the biggest navy.
No, we don't.
We literally have the biggest military.
We're the biggest military. The UK has the biggest navy. They still hold strong with that. They do. They're literally their whole thing is an island.
Right. You think they have 10 carriers?
No, but they have more navy in general. I'm not saying naval power. They have more navy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't have nukes on carriers. We gotta take care of this country. Ram the carrier.
Although it is one big nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Nuclear powered.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Ram the carrier. Full speed ahead.
We're just gonna blow up the entire, coast. The hell with the 6,000 people on board. They're collateral.
Yeah. To this movie's credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It was a good explanation for Leo's explanation for it was a good reasoning when you mark it down to how the only humans that we have in this movie had the exact same reasoning, where it was 2 for 38,
Yeah.
1 million for 100 million. Technically, his statistics are even better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're talking about like, yes, it's terrible, but not with what you've given this robot.
Right.
He's thinking off of what we're thinking, and you've given him exactly what we're thinking, but he's thinking of it in a larger scale.
Yeah.
Plus, he's also the only self-aware one that's like, please don't make any more of me.
Please don't make any more of me because you will destroy the world.
Feed yourselves.
Yeah.
My favorite scene, I watched it 3 times over because I was showing it to somebody and they kept looking away when I showed them. But my favorite scene was when he jumps through fucking SUV windows.
Yeah,
It's so badass.
That was actually pretty cool.
It is a cool thing that he doesn't have human reflexes, so when he jumps through windows like 3 times in this movie, he can still keep shooting.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to worry about, oh, God.
Yeah.
It's just like, woo! It's fun.
I will say it was kind of cool when Leo had Harp up against the wall and he was choking him out, and then Harp is firing at him. Leo's just like, ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, and it not only did it hurt him, but he was also shooting systems inside of him. But like at the same time, he's more resistant to it. So.
Yeah, I mean, at that point he was shooting regular bullets, not the incendiary round.
And I wonder how much pain they actually give him, because for us, we have a threshold.
Yeah.
We either can take all the pain, or we have adrenaline, and we can almost feel none of it in the moment. He doesn't have adrenaline.
No.
So I wonder how much pain they let him feel.
Probably a very minute bit, because if we look at Leo being cut open and somebody digging into his skin with no anesthesia versus a human being cut open and digging in, having their skin dug into with no anesthesia, the human is going to pass out at some point, because the human body can only take so much.
Especially because he was slicing on what is his spine.
Yeah, and then
one of the
taking
most tender parts of the human body.
Yeah.
One with the most nerve endings.
Yeah.
Well, one of the areas. Funny bone on this thing.
It's
like it hits that little nerve that shoots up into the thinking, and it's like,
What? There's like a place on your body that has a lot of nerve endings for no reason, and I don't know where it is.
your tongue.
It might be your tongue.
yeah. And then there's a place on your body that has absolutely none.
Yeah.
Your
Venus.
It's just extra skin.
Yeah.
It's because you gotta move your elbow so far. But yeah.
But yeah. So the human body can only stand, and it's different for each person, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But the human body can only withstand so much pain before it goes unconscious to protect the person.
Yeah.
Because if not,
Our
then-
bodies are great.
Yeah.
You're experiencing pain and might be in a dangerous situation. Let me pass you out.
Yeah. Yeah, because then, when you pass out, your brain, certain parts of your brain kind of turn off, and it's basically to regulate your blood pressure and your pulse,
Yeah.
so that your heart doesn't explode.
At the same time, it sucks. It would suck. Like if you're not wanting the cutting to happen,
Yeah.
now you can't stop it.
So.
But yeah, I also like that they only had him pass out for like 20 seconds.
Which is real.
Because if he didn't, he'd probably be dead.
Yeah, but it's still real. I mean, when you're choked out like that, you only pass out until your body can, deliver oxygen back to your brain. It's only a few seconds.
And if it's over that, you're either dead or have brain damage.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to talk about is Anthony Mackie's performance in this movie, because we've got about 10 more minutes before we go into our final act.
No, there's 4 of us.
Yeah, we could probably stretch it to about 15. But I want to talk about Anthony Mackie's performance in this movie, and I want to talk a little bit about his past performances in movies that we've seen.
I've liked him a lot.
I'll be honest, everything that I've seen him in, and I looked through his, through his credits.
Filmography.
Yeah, his filmography and his credits. Everything that I have seen him in, I have absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Or I've loved the movie.
Yeah.
But his
I think he's a
performance,
great actor.
I think he's fantastic. I loved when they brought him in as the Falcon in the MCU. And I love his somewhat, because they are, kids movies, obviously, but somewhat clean-cut personality.
They're not kids movies, they're family movies.
Family movies, that's what I meant to say. His somewhat clean-cut personality that kind of plays opposite and in tandem with Captain America.
Which I don't think is Anthony Mackie. I think he can just play it very well.
Yes. Yeah. And then, of course, he's in Falcon and Winter Soldier, which only 2 episodes have been released.
Yeah.
And we see a little bit different side of Falcon. But in this movie, I mean, it was just a complete, total different side of Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
I mean, there were F-bombs and motherfucker coming out of his mouth, left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And
that was like the whole movie. Like, this is a very, very R movie.
yes,
This would pass as nothing lesser. Even if you took the blood, like with the restrictions we have, like with movie restrictions, you took away the blood, you took away any trauma that they experienced, still in our movie.
the language, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But it didn't seem shocking coming out of his mouth.
No,
It was
pretty natural.
It felt pretty natural and it looked pretty natural.
Which was with the other one, and even though he's meant to be like wimpier and stuff, like you can tell that that's obviously being in the workforce that he is.
Right.
That is a very normal thing.
Yeah, well, I mean.
And so even though he's
yeah.
a bit wimpier than Leo, he's still that's his normal language, and he makes it look normal.
That's despite what anybody may think.
Yeah.
That is common vernacular in the military. It is. I've literally heard colonels giving a brief at
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, they're not teachers.
No.
Like, they're not school teachers.
No, and I mean the F-bomb and cussing is common vernacular in in the military. I mean, sometimes you have to keep it to a minimum or not at all, especially when a lower ranking is speaking to a higher ranking.
Yeah.
Respectfully, but at the same time,
that's
we all
more
know
based on casual to non-casual conversation.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But I really like Anthony Mackie as an actor. The first time I saw him was in 8 Mile, the movie with Eminem. He was Papa Doc.
Oh yeah, he was. I thought I knew his face from somewhere.
Yeah, I was waiting for the light bulb to click. And I know you probably.
I've never noticed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. I don't think you've ever seen The Manchurian Candidate. I have.
No. A lot of words.
Yeah.
I got those 2 words. Those are a lot of syllables.
He was in The Hurt Locker, which was a good movie.
Nope.
Real Steel.
I have watched that.
He was in that.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
No.
I
have no.
It's horrible.
I have no reason to watch it.
And then of course Captain America: Winter Soldier, and on from there.
Yeah.
All the Captain America movies and everything like that. He actually played Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the TV movie All the Way, which I think is kind of awesome.
That's pretty cool. He doesn't really look like him, but like, there's no facial features that match there, or body features. Like,
Yeah.
the one is a bigger guy, and the other guy's very, very skinny.
Yeah. I mean, he could have played a young.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, a young.
Yeah.
Dr. King.
I thought you messed up something there.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of his name shorter.
Dr. King.
Yeah.
But no, that's one of the main reasons why I watched the movie.
Yeah.
Was because of Anthony Mackie, because I like his acting style, and he really dives into his parts.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, he brought a little bit of Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
brought a little,
Yeah.
a little bit of Falcon,
Yes.
brought a little bit of Papa Doc with him. He brought a little bit of each role that he has ever played into this movie, and you can see it in his facial expressions. Because he gave Lieutenant Hart some of the same facial expressions that he gives Bucky.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where like he's a good actor. He can all around play a part, especially whenever it's an action movie.
Yes.
I think he's a good action actor.
I agree. And he does. I think he would be good in pretty much any role that he plays.
Yeah.
I think he'd be good in drama.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he would be good in like dry humor movies.
And I think it's more based on his face than anything. I think he has great facial expressions.
Yes.
He has good facial mobility.
Yes.
He can do a lot of things with his face.
And with his body too.
Mm-hmm.
He's like very expressive with his movements and his body.
Yeah.
And like we were saying earlier, the run.
Yeah. And I think it helps that he is like that, because then for certain parts of like this movie, we forget that he's a robot, and that was the whole point.
Yeah.
Was to forget that he's a robot.
Yeah.
So I think it helps that you have those like expressions. It's not like the Terminator where the man is literally just learned English and is a big macho guy. And so when he's acting in that role, he's only partially acting.
Yeah.
So you have like that you very much didn't want him to look like a robot in this movie.
Right. Whereas, like you were saying in Terminator, you could tell that he was a robot with a human skin.
Mm-hmm.
This was literally a human that just happened to be a robot.
Yeah.
So.
Something that got on my either got on my skin or got on my thought list was that he said that he was a fully autonomous cyborg. And that word got to me. I was like, to me, cyborg means partially human.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering what the line is for partially human. Does his appearance count? To me, that's an android, but
and so okay, I actually looked up the definition for cyborg because that's actually a great it's a great point that you bring up.
Yeah.
It's a fictional or hypothetical person whose physical abilities are extended beyond normal human limitations by mechanical elements built into the body.
So the weird thing is, was that a misconception by the movie people, because we saw that they had a couple of them?
Yeah.
Or was he at some point human? Was like his brain human? Or what is his skin human?
I think it was a misquote, because Another definition is a person whose body contains mechanical or electrical devices and whose abilities are greater than the abilities of normal humans.
Yeah.
When we look at cyborgs, we are literally thinking of Cyborg from DC.
Yeah.
And there have been other movies.
Borg from Star Trek.
Yeah. Look at Bucky, the Winter Soldier. He's a cyborg.
This is the literal definition for an android.
Okay.
A robot with a human appearance.
So basically, he's
an android, yeah.
He's an android. And
I've looked up these definitions so many times because I don't want to get them wrong. There's like 4 different versions of robot something in movies and in video games and stuff.
Yeah. I think they were using the word cyborg because it sounds cooler than android.
I don't know. I'm also android is used a lot, so.
It is.
Because usually people are using it correctly, so android is going to get used a lot.
And android is more associated, honestly, with the Star Trek: The Next Generation series with the Data character.
And also, I think they were just trying to find a word that sounds like robot, but isn't robot, because there's multiple times where people almost say robot, but don't.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's a curse to him.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to hear that word.
Right.
But he likes other words.
Yeah. It's like, other words that have been used for other characters and characteristics of people and races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's almost like a slang, like a slur.
Yeah. Don't call me robot.
Yeah. I'm not a fucking robot. So. All right. So we are getting to about that time. It's now time to let the 2 ladies talk, since Austin and I have dominated the last hour of conversation.
As you usually do, but it's okay. Because I
Oh,
enjoy
nice.
listening to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the final act.
Okay, and in keeping with what I just said, Miss Angel, we're going to go with your final act first. What did you like about the movie? What did you not like about the movie? Would you watch it again? Would you recommend it?
Okay, well, first I have to point out that this movie got terrible reviews on
Obviously.
IMDb.
Yeah.
Terrible reviews.
Did it?
It
It
did.
doesn't surprise me.
5 out of 10. 4 out of 10. Sorry.
Yeah.
I would not give it that low of a rating at all. I don't think it was that bad. What I didn't like about the movie, though, was that it was incredibly slow in parts. There wasn't a whole lot of story happening at times.
Right.
And so if you're watching it with your significant other and they have a low attention span like me, like, you may lose them in the process because it was really hard at times to watch.
Yeah.
But what I did like about it is I actually enjoy the actors in this film. While there were parts that were obviously not plausible, such as 56,000 hours.
5 hours, yeah.
We have to remember, one, sometimes fuck up happens and they don't catch it in editing. Probably not what he meant to say. 2, it's a Netflix movie. This isn't a blockbuster. It was entertaining. It was well written. The robots and the special effects were pretty cool. I mean, the CGI, if that's what they used on his body, was pretty cool. The idea of it.
Practical.
It was not. The idea of the movie was
It's practical effects.
was pretty cool, and while it was kind of, it's not like we've never visited that before. It wasn't copycat.
Right.
It wasn't identical. No, it wasn't a bad movie. I probably wouldn't watch it again. I would recommend it because I think it's a pretty cool movie, especially for a Netflix movie. I think they are coming out with better movies. I think they are doing well with their movies. Wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't my least favorite. It was okay. I think it was okay. It was an okay movie.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay. Miss Ann, your final act.
I liked it, so I was actually pretty focused on it for the first hour, and then the last 30 minutes I fell asleep.
Those are like the faster parts.
Yeah, but I don't know. After a little bit, I just kind of forgot what was going on. like a lot of action started happening, and then I was like, all right, I don't even know like why they're fighting these people now at this point. Like they all are wearing the same uniform and they're fighting each other, so now I'm confused.
Yeah, and that's the plot split that I was talking about earlier.
Sure, it's not her attention span.
Yeah, it's totally my attention span, but yeah, I did like it
That added to it.
a little bit.
It added to it a lot. I watched her look away a lot.
I was making sure you were still in there.
Yeah.
But the whole time I was thinking, since this is like an army movie, I was really wanting it to be like a little bit more gory and like aggressive, like
Literally no army in this movie.
It's Marines.
Marine. That's why I
Okay.
put it in the same category as fucking Full Metal Jacket because I wanted it to be like that.
Full Metal Jacket is all Marines too.
Well, boom, perfect then. I wanted it to be like that movie, and it wasn't that. So I'm a little disappointed, but I also didn't think it was a horrible movie.
I only remember like 20 minutes of Full Metal Jacket, but I don't remember it being gory.
The first 20 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah. That's all anybody ever remembers of that movie.
Yeah, I fucking
It's a
love
boot
that
camp
movie.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as soon as they went to boot camp, it's like a whole other different movie.
Show me your war face.
Got a war face.
I guess I would watch it again just to finish it. I'd recommend it because it's not a shitty movie, but it's okay.
Okay. Austin, your final act.
So I think this movie was pretty good, and I think of movies a bit differently. Obviously, the two other men that watched this movie are prior military. I don't really care about the semantics of it too much, and also I was not looking at this movie for realism, like, because at the end of the day, it's in the future. We don't know it's in the future, and also it's a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna look at it for like bullet count and things like that. Like the man's a robot.
Yeah.
I'm not really caring about it too much. So yeah, I like that doesn't really ever bug me, especially in a movie that's not meant to be realistic. Like again,
Bless you.
if you guys are talking about a movie like Full Metal Jacket, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But no, not looking for it in this movie. I was really actually hoping a lot more things would be different. Like I was hoping that like the Marines would have different colors or like no. I wasn't looking for full sci-fi. I was just hoping that things would actually look different. But like the thing about like Marines don't train on Ellis Island or something.
Oh, so the Air Force doesn't train on Paris Island.
Yeah.
I think it's fine that they did because we don't know what's happening in the future.
Right.
They might have to switch things because the other one got exploded. Like,
Yeah, we really don't know.
Right. It's just still weird to hear Air Force being trained on Paris Island because that's, unless that's just all of boot camp is.
Yeah, like maybe they had to do something like that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of years, especially with our exponential timeline right now.
Yeah.
That is a lot of years. I would not put it past them.
future.
Yeah.
Or 15 years in the future.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. Like anything could happen.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have any problems with that. I did have a problem. I think it could have been a bit faster, or if it was going to be slow, at least make it longer. Not slow. If they're going to do all this stuff in that time, make it longer. But if they, there's some stuff that they could have cut out and it still would have made sense. But I enjoyed the movie for the most part, and I did follow it. I did not have a problem with all the different places that they went because they scene changed a lot. There's a lot of places they went to, a lot of people they talked to.
Right.
But I didn't really have a problem with it because it made it feel like they were actually going on a journey.
It added to the storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made it feel like they were actually going on a journey instead of going from one place to another place and being like military base. Okay, bunker. Okay, movie end.
Yeah.
It felt like they were having to travel. And yeah, I would recommend it. I probably won't watch it again because it's on Netflix. I don't really get on Netflix, but I might watch it again. But I'll recommend it, and I did like it. It wasn't bad.
Okay.
I thought that it was good. That there was quite a few actors that I've never seen.
Yeah.
In a movie as well. So I like that there was a lot of new actors, and I thought that for the most part, the probably like 5 main actors played their part really well.
Yeah.
I think that people didn't like Damson Idris's part because he was wimpy, but I feel like that's the whole point.
Yeah.
So.
So that's one thing that I really like about Netflix's movies. They'll take one big star, Anthony Mackie, Ryan Reynolds, you know, these big A-list stars, and they take one. Literally, 9 times out of 10, it's just one major star to get interest in the movie.
Yeah.
And then they have a lot of actors that have either played one character role in a TV series like Damson did. That's what all he's done is he plays one character in a TV show, and that's it. And they bring them and they, bring them into these movies with these big A-list actors, and the chemistry, while not completely fluid, as a big blockbuster movies, it actually works really well. And they take these smaller actors and give them a chance. Yeah. And Netflix has done that with a lot of their movies. I think one of the only movies that they did where they had 2 big name actors was Enola Holmes with Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill. Big A-list actors.
Yeah.
But it's...
I think that was more of the type of movie anyway.
Yeah.
It was one of those movies where it was a big name, so you had a big name actor.
Yeah.
It was like their blockbuster. It made sense.
Right. And I mean, Millie Bobby Brown was going to finance the movie anyway. She was like, I'm doing this anyway. And Netflix was like, we'll do it for you, and, we'll bring in Henry Cavill too.
Yeah. They've done that multiple times.
Yeah.
Where they're like, we'll just finance it, and they're like, we'll take it.
Yeah.
They're doing that for a movie right now. I just can't remember what it is. Somebody wanted to finance the movie if no one else would.
Berserk.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll fund it, and then they were like, no, we got it.
Yeah. No, we'll fund it for you. Don't spend your own money. You have total control.
We want the recognition.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, that's another good thing about Netflix.
Yeah.
Is because Anthony Mackie was an executive producer on this. So kind of makes me think that this was one of his projects that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Kind of like Millie Bobby Brown and Enola Holmes, because that was her project.
It's very much like Vin Diesel's Fast and the Furious.
Yes.
But they're using a different platform for it.
Yeah, Netflix is saying, we like this idea, we'll fund it, you do how you want it, but we'll put it out because we want the recognition and we want, your...
money.
Well, yeah, your money, but we also want your name associated with us.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I like about this movie. One of the things that I didn't like about the movie, and you guys have said everything else that I didn't like, one of the things I didn't like about the movie was the sudden evolution of Lieutenant Hart from this drone pilot to all of a sudden he's now a special forces guy who's going to go up against an android and kill him.
Yeah, I think it helped that the android didn't want to kill him.
Right, it didn't see him as a threat.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was the scene in when Lieutenant Hart had
talking to his 2 superiors.
Yeah, talking to his 2 superiors and then tracking him. Number one, they could have ended the movie right there with the hellfire to the fucking Escalade. It would have been over.
Yeah, but they had that confirmation.
Yeah, I know. I get.
There was a big old, which I is the point of the movie was there was a big, inconsistency with what we'll bomb and what we won't.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was definitely on purpose.
Yeah, but then he's like, send me after him, I'll go after him, blah 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 blah, and the colonel, is like, well, no, we can't do that. What happens? And then he turns to him and says, well, if I fail, we never had this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, you are a fucking O2, bottom of the barrel in the officer ranks.
Which is
speaking
why
to a a commanding officer
Mhm.
like that.
In a very desperate situation, though.
It is, but at the same time, it just.
If he was talking to him politely, nothing would have gotten done.
I agree. It was just again for me.
Yeah.
That's my military mindset.
Yeah.
Like normally that colonel would like bashed him through the fucking wall
Yeah,
for
but
saying that. But
it
I
kind of
get
needed to happen.
it did need to happen for the continuity of the movie.
Yeah.
But it was just still awkward that, you know, he goes from a drone pilot to a special forces guy in a matter of 48 hours.
Yeah.
You know, like he's all of a sudden this badass that can.
But I don't even
basically
think he thought of himself as a badass. I think it was just,
No, but
I'm
that's-
the only one that can do this.
Right, but that's how they portrayed him in the movie, and that's what bothered me. One of the things, and we've talked about the realism versus non-realism in the movie.
Mhm.
One of the things that I liked was when the Russian gumps, because they had the big 50 cal on their
Yeah.
on their shoulder,
Yeah.
and they had to brace
Mhm.
because that 50 cal has a lot of kick.
Yeah.
And you
But
know,
it made sense. And plus it made them look cooler.
it made them
Because
look cool.
if they just fired it, then it wouldn't have looked as cool.
Right. But that's one of the realistic parts about the movie that I liked. Overall, I don't think it was a horrible movie.
No. I don't think it was a horrible movie in any capacity.
No. There are things that could have been done better with the movie, obviously.
Yeah.
The special effects were fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sure they used a lot of practical effects, especially for the gumps.
Mhm.
I would like to think they were practical effects.
No, they were CGI all the way. I'll tell you that right now.
Some of them, I'm sure, were practical.
I don't think so. I think they were CGI. You can see especially when they hop out of the
Well, yeah, I
vehicle.
mean that's obviously CGI, but
Yeah.
when they were beating up on the gump on the base, I'm pretty sure that was practical. That was a practical effect because all they'd have to do is just literally move the skin and not have it really move.
Yeah. I think they just had targets for it.
I don't know, because if you look at the level of animatronics that has grown since, you know, Disney Imagineers,
Yeah.
it's entirely possible that
And
most of those could have been practical effects.
they did look real, but they also definitely didn't. Like they felt wrong.
In
I
parts,
don't think they were real only because the way that people didn't interact with them that much felt wrong. And like you could see like them hitting up against it and all these sparks flying off, like it didn't look real.
I could probably agree with you on that. But overall, it really didn't have any issues. I mean, the script flowed fairly well. They could have, like you said, added parts to it,
Mhm.
taken away parts to it, kind of just smoothed the rough edges a little bit.
Yeah. But I think they did good with what they had, really.
I agree.
They weren't doing some big director, big blockbuster
No,
type movie.
no, it's not a big blockbuster. It's not a movie that ever would have gone to theaters.
No, but its debut weekend was the most that Netflix has ever gotten received.
And that's good.
Yeah.
And it's probably because of Anthony Mackie again.
Yeah.
But I probably won't watch it again. Not because I didn't like it, but because it's just one of those movies where it's a one and done.
Yeah, there's not much to it. You understand it and you understand the concept.
Yeah, it's like there are some video games where there's no replayability.
Yeah.
There's no rewatchability to this movie. I mean,
No.
It's not like, oh, I missed something, I got to go back and watch it so I can, they foreshadowed this and now it's, now I got to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. Which there is some of it, but you kind of mostly catch it throughout.
Yeah. As far as recommending it, I mean, if you're a fan of Anthony Mackie from the MCU, if you're a fan of just action movies and people getting their heads blown off and stuff like that, I mean, I would watch it. It's good for a one-time watch. It's good for, like a, Friday, Saturday night where you've got nothing going on.
Yeah.
Especially because the pandemic and everything shutting down early.
Mm.
I wouldn't say it's a date night movie unless your date night likes action movies, or your date likes action movies. But at the same time, it's good for a, sit down, drink a beer, watch a movie kind of.
Yeah.
So, overall, I'd give it probably about a 6 out of 10.
I can't rate movies like that.
So, all right, we are coming down to the last 5 minutes of the show. I want to say thank you to all of my hosts tonight. Really enjoyed having you in the studio, as always. Tuesday night.
We will actually, I'm going to hesitate on saying yes.
Okay.
I want to see how everybody's feeling.
Okay. Wednesday night we are having a show. We are actually going to be talking about practical and CGI effects, the pros and cons of each. A little bit of history on CGI, so that we can get into that. But yeah, we're talking about the special effects side of movies. So stay tuned for that on Wednesday. And then Friday, I think Nope I Know will be coming back, I believe.
Nope I Know has a kind of a debut episode this week with testing out a new host with the guy in glasses.
So yeah, that should be fun. So tune into that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Sports Veterans, Fire, Police, and EMS, they are out there every day putting their lives on the line for you. Don't judge the 99% by the 1%. There are really, really good ones out there. As always, be safe, be smart, and watch back here every night that we broadcast on Wiki Curiosity Media. Every Sunday night for Movie of the Week. Every Tuesday night for Falling from Grace podcast. Every Wednesday night for the Cinephiles, and every Friday night for Nope I Know. Also, stay tuned to the Wiki Curiosity Media page, as there are updates that are going to be happening either this week or next week, depending on the timetable. So, you're gonna want to keep up with that. It's gonna be interesting. So,
I don't even know what's going on.
nobody does. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday night. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Please join us next Tuesday, or please join us next time on Behind the Screen on the Cinephiles, and we'll let you know about Tuesday. Stay tuned.
Have a good night, everybody. We will see you soon.
Deuces.
Good night.
All right, y'all have a good night. We love you, and talk to you later.
Strip it down, it's just you and me. You cut me off and say you're tired of talking. It's not as if we can't agree, but you've lost your will to fight. You're packing up all your things to leave, and these will be our last words. Then the chance will be lost, and I ain't too proud. If you love me, you would hold me and never let me go. If you love me, you would tell me you never want me to be alone. If you cared at all, you would stop and never go. But you just turn your back to me and say, I guess I don't. Now it's 7 years and 1,000 days. and what was said.